Welcome back to the Charlie Cook Cricket Podcast. Now, we have had a pretty busy week of cricket, as we always have to. I mean, it's this time of year. We're having IPL finals. We've got county cricket stuff. We've got the Blast starting this week. England ODIs. So we're going to go through the England ODI 11 that's just been announced. We're going to go through the County Championship the last week until we have a bit of a break. We're now officially halfway through the County Championship. And then finally, we're going to give a couple of predictions for the Blast. Couple of teams we like, couple of teams we don't like, and everything you need to, a few bits of everything that you need to know before the start of the Blast tomorrow evening. I'm joined with Joe today. He is going to take us through our resident county cricket expert. We are going to start off with the England team, though. They've gone with Jamie Smith, Ben Duckett, Joe Root, Harry Brook, Josh Buttler, Jacob Bethell at 6, Will Jacks at 7, Jamie Overton, Bryden Cass, Adil Rashid, and then Saqib Mahmood at number 11. Joe, why is Jamie Smith opening the batting?
I don't know. I would personally have had Harry Brook opening the batting. I'm glad Jamie Smith's playing. I think he deserves to. But I would have had Harry Brook at the top of the order, or failing that, Tom Banton, because he's in the squad and he is an opener. So to me, that makes logical sense. Yeah, not too sure why Smith is. That's obviously something they tried in the Champions Trophy, and it wasn't just kind of like a random thing because we weren't doing very well in the Champions Trophy. They obviously had some thought behind it, and obviously are continuing with it. So hopefully he does well. It's not something he's ever done before, apart from the Champions Trophy. So yeah, let's hope he does well and kind of see where we go from there, I guess.
He did open in a county championship game once. That did happen, and he scored 100. So things are looking good. Maybe it was a very, very flat track at the Oval. I think it was Surrey versus Durham or something like that. And it was 650 plays 700 and called a draw after 3.5 days. It was pretty dull. But that's the only time that I think he's ever opened. I would have gone with Banton personally. I think he's perfect. He's an opener in white ball cricket, so I don't understand why we didn't go that way.
I guess we see Banton play later in the series, at the very least. So
yeah, I guess so. Will Jacks, number 7, Moeen Ali regen. I finally get my wish. I'm so excited for this. He's the perfect Moeen Ali player, and I don't understand why we haven't tried it already. Again, maybe it would have been a shout for him to open. Whether he will later in the summer, whether they want to go with, let's try Jamie Smith this game, let's try Banton the next game, then let's try Will Jacks the game after. I think this is just going to be testing out stuff, throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks. I think that kind of 1 to 6 with the 2 to 6 is probably going to be set in stone with Duckett, Root, Brook, Buttler, and Bethell. Can't see that changing much, and even still, Matty Potts still doesn't play, which
I can't believe he's
nuts.
He should be in the team. I think the bowling looks a little bit light. That's one of my concerns. Like, you're relying on Jacks, Bethell, and Root to share 10 overs. Which I feel like is a bit of a big ask. I know Jacks is a very good bowler. Bethell and Root have obviously done their fair share as well. But I think probably a bowler like, unless they obviously, kind of expecting Jacks to step up more, which they may well do if he's in that kind of Moeen Ali role. So
yeah, and it's also the case of if you go in with 4 bowlers and then you've got to try and get 10 overs of part-time spin, you need those 4 bowlers to all bowl well. There were so many times in the Champions Trophy and in that India series before that you'd have one or two of the bowlers not bowl well. You'd have to bowl in the 10, or you had to go to a Root or a Livingston and someone part-time to try and get you those overs. And I don't think England actually rate Bethell's spin that much. I think given the choice, they'll probably go to Root before they go to Bethell. I think they're going to do that. Whether Harry Brook decides to bowl himself, that's a very captain move to do, coming on first change. The standard third 11 captain job that he'll do there. I don't hate the team. I would have liked to have gone with a proper opener like Banton, but that's kind of the only thing that I'm upset by. I know there's a lot of Jamie Overton haters out there. I am not a Jamie Overton hater. So I'm more than happy for him to be in that team. There's going to be some changes coming for the second and the third ODI. So I think you really have to look at this rather than game by game. of what squad works and what team works going forward. And we'll see that over the West Indies series and then against South Africa and then against. We're not playing ODIs against Ireland anymore, or it's just T20s. So in the South Africa series in September or whenever it is. But no, I don't hate it. What about you?
No, I think overall pretty good balance. Like I would have had Potts in there personally. I think he's someone who deserves his spot. I probably would have put him in ahead of Overton just based on getting overs in Cast and kind of the balance of the team. Cast can bat it absolutely. So that's probably what I would have done. But I think Potts will play this series. Like they've kept him around the squad. He's not been able to go back to playing the Blast or wasn't able to go and play the Championship for Durham. So I think he'll play. I'd imagine he'll play at some point. And I think everyone in the squad will get at least one game. So
And
yeah,
there's still not a death bowler in there, is there?
no, that's one concern. I think the best is probably Mahmood. Mahmood is a good death bowler. I've seen him do it a lot for Lancs.
Yeah.
So probably he's the best. I hope Luke Wood gets a chance later on in the series. He's actually playing for Lancs in the Blast this week. So he's been released to play for Lancs on Thursday night. But I think he's one of the best death bowlers in England. So I'm hoping he gets a chance later on in the series.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah, that'd be interesting to see. I'm really looking forward to that series and see what Harry Brook brings to the ODIs. We'll move on to the county championship, starting off with Durham versus Somerset. Durham's first innings, 277 all out, 4 wickets from Matt Henry. He looks pretty good. Finally found a bit of his form after he came back from that injury. Somerset in reply, 172 all out, 5 wickets from Mitchell Killeen. They just seem to have a conveyor belt of bowlers that they just seem to keep producing. I don't know what it is about Durham. It's obviously the cold weather up there. They produce good fast bowlers. Durham second innings 159 all out. Somerset then chased down 265 thanks to a Tom Lammonby 104. Tom Abel chipping in with 73 as well, and a really, really good chase and a good win from Somerset to kind of break that 100-run first innings deficit. Really good performance from Somerset. It starts to turn their season around from a bit of a difficult start.
Yeah, I think Somerset are a good side. I think both of these two sides are good. This is our predicted winners class, wasn't it, for the start of the season, I think. So obviously you've come out on top in that. But no, I think both of these two are good sides. I think it's been a bit of a tricky season at times for them both. But yeah, look, I'm a big fan of Tom Lammonby, I've got to say. That's a really good 100. He's someone who's turning into a perfect number 3. I think he bats best at number 3, and I think that's kind of showing through again this week. So I'm a big fan of Tom Lammonby, and a great chase really was 267 for 3. You're kind of looking at that thing. Could be a bit of a like a tough chase potentially, but no, they navigated it well. Obviously, a lot of experience and yeah, it's a really good performance from Somerset.
Yeah, I don't know what. It's slightly off topic with Tom Lammonby, but I always remember his name, and he's always in my head. With the simple fact of like 2 years ago, I got a text off one of my friends and was like, "Do you know who Tom Lammonby is?" I'm like, "Yeah, he's a cricketer for Somerset." And he was like, "Oh, my girlfriend's mate's going out with him. I just wanted to double check if you knew him." I'm like, he was like, "Is he any good?" I'm like, "Yeah, he's pretty good." And so whenever I see his name, it always just makes me think of that completely unrelated story. I've fallen in love with James Minto. All of a sudden, he can bat as well, which is incredible. He scores 34 batting at 11, and left arm quick. I don't know what it is. There's like an under 19s team that I'd field against India and be really happy with it.
He's really good at it too. Like he's someone who I think will play for England one day, almost a guarantee. Like the fact that he is, as you say, starting to score runs as well, I'd really encouraging. Someone who maybe further down the line can kind of bat 8 or 9, perhaps. He's about 17, so there's a long development to go with his batting. And of course his bowling, but if you bat an 11, and it feels almost like a little bit like Ashton Agar, back in the Ashes when he first came in and batted 11, and he's actually not a number 11. Maybe it's a bit like that with James Minto as well. But no, he's a really, really good player, really good bowler, and as you say, Durham have a lot of good fast bowlers. Mitch Killeen's a good bowler as well. Reminds me a little bit in terms of his action of Lockie Ferguson. I see quite a lot of Lockie Ferguson in his action. So, yeah, a really good bowler there. And this is a Durham side without, obviously, Potts and Cars. So I know, obviously, they struggled in the second innings a little bit. But in that first innings, to bowl a pretty good Somerset batting line apart for 172 is a pretty good bit of work.
Yeah, and I like what Somerset are doing with Lewis Gregory opening and then moving Archie Vaughan down the order.
He's
Seems
good
to
at that, Gregory, as well. He's good at that.
Yeah, and it seems to suit Vaughan a little bit better, batting down the order. So I like the change that they've made there. Moving on to Hampshire versus Sussex. Hampshire bowled out for 154 in their first innings. Henry Crocombe picking up 4 for 27. Sussex in reply 297. John Simpson once again scoring another century, proving why he has been the best county signing for the last 10 years. Hampshire in reply 165, 5 wickets for Jack Carson, and then Sussex chased down a measly 23, 1 wicket down to take the win. Sussex look good. I mean, I feel like a team that's come up from Division 2 shouldn't look this good. They've just got such a good all-round team, and this was without Ollie Robinson. Ollie Robinson didn't play.
No.
Without Jaden Seals.
Yeah, without Dan Hughes as well, obviously.
Yeah.
With the bat. Yeah, they're a good team, Sussex. They're a really good side. They've obviously replaced Seals pretty well with Nathan McAndrew. I'm a big fan of McAndrew. He's like your kind of typical Australian quick bowler, isn't he? And I'm a really big fan of his. Enjoy watching him in the Sheffield Shield for a number of years now. So nice to see him back in a Sussex shirt. And yeah, like you just look at the side and it's hard to kind of pick any real weaknesses in it. Like for example, having like John Simpson constantly scoring runs down at number 6 is just such a luxury. And it really does feel like they've got a lot of strength and depth as well. Like as you said, this is without like 2, 3, 4, 5 of their most important players. And yeah, they've been able to kind of rock up to Hampshire and perform like that. And I know Hampshire maybe haven't been at their strongest this season, but still a really good performance away from home on a ground where I don't think the results have been flowing necessarily at Hampshire.
No, they haven't. No, I thought it was a really good win. I mean, Hampshire are still... We kind of predicted this. We kind of predicted them to struggle. They're not necessarily down in the relegation fight, but they're probably out of title contention at this point. I mean, so there's still another, 7 games to go, but it doesn't... You kind of get to the halfway and there'll be a few teams that will kind of chop and change. But for me, for the title now, you're probably looking at that top 3, maybe top 4 of who's actually going to win it. If not, just between Notts and Surrey at this point. There is such that big chunk of games that we have at the start of the season really does determine a lot. So that's why it's so important to have a good start. I think we predicted Hampshire to be around mid-table. They wouldn't go down. They weren't in contention to win it. Like James Vince's runs were just too hard to replace. I think we said that Sussex were going to be absolutely fine coming up again. So yeah, really impressed with Sussex this week. Moving on to Essex versus Surrey. Surrey saved by rain in this one. Essex 217 in their first innings. Sam Curran making his red ball cricket return. Surrey in reply 279. Sam Curran scoring 70. Jordan Clark 54, 9. Their batting lineup just seems to go on forever and ever and ever. Essex 479 in their second innings. Tool Paul with 118. Charlie Allison with 140. 418 to win. They finished 289 for 7 when the rain came down. Do you know what? Would I have backed Surrey to try and chase it down with if there wasn't any rain, maybe with their batting lineup? But Jamie Porter takes 5 for 88 in that second innings as well. He continues to try and keep that team up without Sam Cook in it.
Yeah, good performance, good fight from Essex this week. I think they obviously, again, another side who have been really underwhelming. They're kind of in and around that relegation fight, you could argue. And I think to kind of get a draw at the Oval is a really good result. Yeah, some really good performances. Charlie Allison, very impressive. I think he's a top player. Obviously, was opening at the start of the season, now in that middle order. Really elegant, isn't he? Really elegant player. Someone who is able to just kind of occupy the crease. And still score runs at a pretty good rate, striking at just under 60. So, yeah, I think overall a really good fight from Essex this week. And I was going to say Sam Curran. I mean, he's such a good player, and like I wish he could get himself back into that Test side. He clearly has ambitions. Obviously, he was very open about that last summer as well. Look, I don't know what's going to kind of happen post Stokes, but perhaps Sam Curran can always put his hat into the ring for that England all-rounder spot whenever Stokes does decide to retire. I don't know how long that's going to be, obviously, but Sam Curran's only young. He's only 26, so he's got years and years left ahead of him. I do think he has ambitions to play Test cricket again, and he's a genuinely good player. So I really hope he can put himself at least into contention.
The thing is, we're gonna find out about this in 6 months' time, aren't we? Or 8 months' time, at the end of the Ashes. Because what happens at the end, if it all goes wrong in the Ashes Down Under, like it does every time, it's Rob Key will be sacked, Ben Stokes will be sacked, and McCullum will be sacked. It happens every time we go there and lose 4-5-0. It looks miserable, and everyone gets sacked at the end of it. Now, if it turns out good and then we carry on and maybe you kind of keep the same formula, that's absolutely fine. But there is a world where you start picking bowlers like Sam Cook, you start picking a Sam Curran, you pick a Ben Folkes again. There's definitely a world where this Test team looks completely different. I think Sam Curran's doing the right thing, keeping himself in the mix, because English cricket coming up to the kind of the home summer of 2026 could look a lot different in 12 months' time. We've seen it happen after Ashes series, so that could go wrong. One thing I love is Paul Walter at the top of the order. I just always imagined him as just a bit of a kind of a biffer that just smashes the ball about, because you see him in many franchise competitions. He's turned into a big bash cult hero over there. And just to see him like scoring decent runs at the top of the order in Red Bull cricket is just exciting. I love it when things like that happen. It's like when you saw someone like a Adam Rossington score runs in the block. You kind of in the county championship, because you just imagine him in a pair of pajamas smashing the ball everywhere, and then he plays a proper innings and it's all exciting. Essex will be disappointed with just getting a draw out of it. They probably deserve to win it. It looks like they're going to have Sam Cook back at some point. I'm not sure if England are going to pick him again for the India series. They might do, they might not. I think it's probably 50-50 now. And obviously, back end of September anyway, when most of the rest of the games are going to be, there won't be any England stuff anyway. So Essex might get a bit better again, but they probably just had too bad of a start to really push for anything this year.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to by any means win the league. I think they'll be potentially dragged into a relegation fight, depending on how obviously Worcestershire Yorkshire do. But
I think the two teams are down. I think they're done.
I don't think it's nailed on yet. I think what's worrying for Yorkshire is that they actually have the same record as Worcestershire. Everyone was kind of like, Worcestershire not really good. They've got no chance of staying up. Yorkshire have 5 more points on them. So, Yorkshire haven't won for since the second game. So it's not exactly that they're kind of pulling up trees. I'm interested to see that kind of relegation scrap, and if anyone else does get dragged into it. I think Essex, maybe Hampshire are the two who will, if anyone. But it's certainly very interesting to see what will happen with that.
Yeah, I think it would just be very helpful for Yorkshire if their captain didn't run off and go and play the IPL. When they need to win games, that would probably be relatively helpful for them. But we had a good game down at the Oval. Moving on to the Bears versus Pears derby. Warwickshire scored 227 in their first innings, 86 from Sam Hain, 59 from Tom Latham. Tom Taylor takes 4 for 37, a man who I basically never heard of until about 3 weeks ago, and appears to be the best bowler in county cricket. Worcestershire in reply, 181. They were 64 for no loss. Their batting woes continue. And it was even some runs from the lower order that helped them get up to a decent total. Chris Wokes also made his return this week, and looked pretty good for it. Warwickshire in their second innings, 280 all out. Sam Hain once again in the run, scores 87. 5 wickets from Jacob Duffy. Worcestershire had 327 to win. They get to 181 for 8. It rains for the majority of day 4, and they escape with a draw. Warwickshire were dominating this game.
Yeah, I think they'll be gutted about the weather. Like, obviously, a low scorer due to the conditions, obviously, at New Road. I think Worcestershire will be happy with the draw in the end. Like you say, Warwickshire with the dominant side throughout. And actually, no one got any batting points, which is quite surprising, but I think that kind of shows how tough it was to bat. So, yeah, the fact that 280 was a high score, I think Warwickshire would be pretty happy to set Worcester for 327, and obviously likely would have won had it not been for that rain. But I think fair play to, kind of the fight again shown by Warwickshire, because we've seen that a lot this season. I was obviously a little bit unsure about how they do, but we've seen a lot of fight this season from them. And yeah, I think, again, I've said it numerous times now, that kind of top 6-7 is really good. Yates, Davis, Latham, Hayne, Webster, Barnard, and Alex. Smith as well is a really good kind of top 6, 7, 8. And then you've obviously got Wokes as well, kind of offering extra quality with the bat, I guess, this week. And
I mean, Wokes at 9 is a deep batting line.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he bats 8 for England, obviously. So I think that's a really good kind of depth that Warwickshire have. And yeah, I think I probably underrated them at the start of the season. So it's good to see them kind of putting in these kind of performances, showing a lot of fight, and they are absolutely in the race for the title. They're only 20 points behind. It's not too many. Can be overturned if, Notts and Surrey have one bad game.
A couple of wins.
They can be overturned. So they're absolutely in the race for the title, and I'm intrigued to see if they will be able to put. Sorry, actually, they're not. They're actually 22 points behind. I read Sussex is there, but the point is it can be overturned. I think they're still in the race for a title. So I'm intrigued to see how they do for the rest of the campaign.
Yeah, it's getting results at home. Like Edgbaston has been so flat recently. And just struggle to get wins at home. But yeah, no, I really like their team. Moving on to Notts versus Yorkshire. Notts, again, unstoppable. 228 in their first innings, top scorer 64 from Joe Clark. George Hill picks up another 5-wicket haul after his England Lions call-up in the week. Yorkshire reply 159 all out. David Milan with 64 off 45, just trying to give it a bit of a slog. 6 wickets from Mohamed Abbas. I'm glad I took him out of my cricket draft team this week. That was a great pick from me. I brought in Ed Barnard, and he scored about 4 points. Notts 393 for 8 declared. Joe Clark 94 top scoring. Yorkshire had 463 runs to win, and they were bowled out for 299. I think Yorkshire are down. I just don't like their team. I just don't like it. There's two. They went into this season with potentially having a 4, 5, and 6 of Joe Root, Harry Brook, Johnny Bairstow, and they've got one game out of all 3 of them. Now, Bairstow fucked off to the IPL, which I think, if I'm a Yorkshire fan, I am fuming about. The fact that he's taken that captaincy role and said, yeah, no, I'm my dream to captain Yorkshire, just like my dad. And then as soon as the Mumbai Indians throw a few crore over the table, he's on the first flight to Mumbai. I just think that's crap. He's still centrally contracted. I mean, that's how much money he's got. He don't need the money. The ECB is still paying him £1 million a year. I think it's crap. I think it's seriously crap. And if I'm a Yorkshire fan, I am fuming. The only good thing about Yorkshire getting down is that we might actually get a Roses game next year, and we haven't had one for a while.
That feels like a little slide dig at Lancs, to be fair. So, yeah, but I do worry about Yorkshire in all seriousness. They are, as you say, I think I said kind of like they should be planning for not having Root and Brook, and that's kind of a luxury. But obviously, Johnny's not been here as well this game, and he's obviously going to miss the start of the Blast. And as I've said before, I think that it is what it is. Like, I understand completely why he did it. It's a lot of money. I'm pretty sure you get 160k a game. I read, so it's so much money that it's hard to say no to. But I also see your point as well. Yeah, look, it's tough going for Yorkshire right now, and I do think they've got a big job on their hands to stay up as well. Similar to Worcestershire in a way, because unfortunately, the start that Worcestershire had to the season and kind of more recently how Yorkshire have played have really impacted that. Also, Notts are really good, so I think that's worth bearing in mind as well. Notts are a very, very good side, very well drilled side with great depth, and the fact that they obviously didn't have Josh Tongue this week, still managed to field a bowling attack that included James, Hutton, Pennington, and Bass, and obviously Patterson White as a spinner, and didn't pick Farhan Ahmed either because obviously they just didn't make the 11. I think it shows great depth. So I really, really do like this Notts side, and I think they've got a real, real shot at winning the title. I really do.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, it was nice to see Dylan Pennington back on it. And back in the wickets. Had a bit of it seems a long time ago since he got called up to that England squad 12 months ago, and then never played. So it was good to see him back. In terms of the Division 1 table, Notts are top, 10 points clear of Surrey in second. Sussex are another 10 points behind Surrey in third, and then it gets pretty close. Warwickshire fourth, Somerset fifth, all separated by 3 points. Durham in sixth on 84. Hampshire 2 points behind in seventh. Essex on 75 points in eighth. And then the two teams in the drop zone, Yorkshire on 59. Worcestershire on 54. It's looking pretty bleak for the two at the bottom. Now, I know that deficits like that has been overturned before, but I mean, look at Yorkshire's next 3 games: Notts, Essex, Surrey. Doesn't look great.
It does not. It's tough going. Very, very tough going.
With the exception of Essex, maybe. But yeah, I'd like Notts. I think they might even win it this year. I think they could be that good. How long have they got a Bass for? Is it Bass coming back at the back end of the season?
The Bass is here the whole season, as far as I know.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it'd be nice to see. Moving on to Division 2, Glamorgan versus Middlesex. Glamorgan scored 383 in their first innings. Sam Northeast and Kieran Carlson both with centuries. Nice to see Sam Northeast back in the runs. He just absolutely loves it against Middlesex. Every time I see Sam Northeast play against us, he seems to score 1,000,000 runs. Ryan Higgins takes 5 for 59 for the first time in 7 weeks. I didn't make Ryan Higgins my captain. So that was fantastic choice again from me. I had a shocker on Cricket Draft again this week. Middlesex put out for 155 in their first innings. But asked to follow on, they scored 235 in their second innings, giving Glamorgan just 8 to chase down. They do it in 2 overs. It would have been a lot worse. They would have lost by an innings, but Toby Rowland-Jones scored 57 off 42 to get them past that innings defeat. Middlesex are just missing a bowler.
Yeah. Middlesex are one of the sides who we obviously thought would do quite well this season. We've obviously kind of got that a little bit wrong. I agree. I think they're a bowler light.
It might be a batter light as well.
Yeah, I just feel like they've just been kind of waiting for the Williamson impact. He's obviously around after the Blast. He obviously played in the Championship as well a little bit, and I just feel like it's kind of a season wasted in a way for Middlesex, just waiting for Williamson. Almost like just like twiddling their thumbs until he gets here, and there's only so much you can do. And obviously, he's not a bowler; he's not a fast bowler. And you're right, I do think they're a bowler light. I'd be interested to see if they try and recruit anyone else, but obviously, money is tight. Obviously, have Dane Patterson, but is he coming back, Patterson, after the World Series Championship?
No.
He done? So again, they're gonna be in trouble after that in terms of options in the fast bowling department. So I'm interested to see if they recruit another overseas quick. But yeah, really tough for Minnesota.
Yeah, and the thing about last season or two, is when we've had problems with the top order, it's usually Ryan Higgins that comes in and absolutely saves us and scores a big century. It just hasn't done it this season. Just hasn't been in the form that he has been in previous seasons. And you can't expect him to keep digging you out of holes. But after the last 2 years that he's had, you'd kind of expect it to a certain point. A little bit like when England are 10 for 2 and Joe Root walks out to the crease and you think, you're going to score a century now. This is when you're at your prime. Ryan Higgins was in his prime when Middlesex were 40 for 4. He just did it very well. So I think they've missed out on that. I mean, having to shove Luke Holman to number 3 is probably not what they wanted to do.
I think he's done well, though, Luke Holman.
I think he's done really well of what he's been given. He's not a number 3. Again, it's that whole waiting for Kane Williamson thing.
Yeah.
You almost don't want to give someone else a go. Like, why you wouldn't put? I'm not sure if Eskenazi's injured actually. I think he might. I know he picked up an injury against. Was it Gloucester? I think it was Gloucester.
I can't remember.
So maybe that's why he's not playing there. But yeah, just seems a bit of an odd decision for me. We've obviously gone away from the Nathan Fernandez plan. But yeah, no, a bit of a worry. I still have hopes to go up, but it seems like a long way away. 38 points that we'd have to make up at this point. I didn't actually realise we were so close to Lancashire. That's a little bit of a worry. How are we so close? We just not got any batting points. It must be that. Speaking of Lancashire, moving on to Lancashire versus Leicestershire. Lancashire bowled out for 206. Then you had Leicestershire in reply, 457. Rian Ahmed and Lewis Hill both making centuries. And then Lancs in their second innings bowled out for 248, despite a Keaton Jennings 100. They lost by an innings and 3 runs. Logan Van Beek picks up 7 wickets in the match in a good week for him. But good news for Lancashire fans. Benkenstein's gone. Okay, Benke's gone. You don't have to worry about him anymore. This is the result that finally got him the sack. Maybe Keaton Jennings might even be captain again after this. Who knows? Joe, I'm going to let you go off the long run up on Lancs. You've got a few things to say.
Another eventful week. Obviously, this defeat's really, really poor. Leicestershire, an incredible side. Probably the best side in the country in red ball cricket, I think. Probably just better than Notts. Obviously, hard to tell they're not going to play each other, but I think I probably would just edge it to Leicester. And yeah, Lancs have been pretty awful this season. So brilliant performance from Leicestershire. Lancs, again, just their approach has been so wrong, I think, this season. The batting order's been weird. The run rate's been off in terms of from a batting point of view. The bowling unit, like this week, not picking Jimmy, I'll never understand that decision. Like not picking your best bowler in red ball cricket when you need to win in red ball cricket is just bizarre to me. I know obviously he's going to play the Blast, but to me, the priority for Jimmy has to be, or the priority for Lancs for picking Jimmy has to be in the red ball stuff. And I was very surprised.
He hasn't played T20 cricket since like 2015. He might have played a couple of Blast games, but apart from that, he's not played a kind of international T20 game since 2015, before Owen Morgan was captain.
Yeah, I mean he's in the squad for tomorrow, so I assume he's going to play tomorrow, which will be interesting. But yeah, it's just like really, really strange decisions, and obviously Benkenstein has left the club by mutual consent, I believe, today on Wednesday. So yeah, that's
fed up with Twitter replies.
Probably, well, it needed to happen for a long time. Like, if I'm being completely honest, it's needed to happen. It just wasn't working, and we've got Crofty in now, and everyone at Lancs loves Croft. So if there's one person who everyone could get behind, fans, players, he knows the squad. He was part of the squad last year, and he's still been working as a coach. So, and if there's someone everyone can kind of unite behind, it's Crofty. So I'm really excited to see how he does, and obviously going into the Blast, hopefully I mean, he's a fantastic T20 player, Stephen Croft. So hopefully that can kind of, that momentum can sort of build into the Blast. And yeah, I'm just excited to see how we go now, how a Stephen Croft side looks, really. It's going to be fascinating. But yeah, necessary changes at Lancs, and hopefully the Red Bull format, we're not going to get promoted now. Like, let's not kid ourselves. And there are still a lot of things that need to change at the club, I think, as well. But this is like a good start, and it's a real shame it didn't work out with Benke, but I think this is the right decision ultimately.
I agree. Rian Ahmed, when does he play for England? Because he keeps scoring centuries and he bowls leg spin, and leg spin makes me very excited. So I would like Rian Ahmed to be playing for England. I know Bashir took 9 this week, okay? I'm more than happy to admit that. But I need Rian Ahmed in the test side. Okay? I just need to see it. I need to see him opening the batting, or batting number 3 for an England side and scoring hundreds and ripping leggies. That's what I want to see.
I think he's got to play. Is he in the ODI squad? I can't remember if he's in the. I don't
No,
think
he's
he
in the
is. He's in the
T20 side.
squad. I'm very surprised he's not in the ODI squad. He's someone they could have opened the batting with if they wanted to kind of go a little bit out there and get an extra bowler in. Rayan Ahmed is a really good option for that. He's got to play soon enough. Like, he's starting to bowl a lot more. And he's starting to bowl very well now this season. Obviously, just hadn't really needed to bowl much, but obviously he's also been in the runs. He's just a fantastic player, and I really hope he gets that chance for England. He's never played a Test match in this country, which I'm, very surprised about. He's only ever played overseas, and I think he deserves that chance to play a Test match in England. Show what he can do. Show he has got that ability to, with the bat and with the ball, offer something to this Test side in England, because I really do think he does. So hopefully he gets that chance soon. But a fantastic player.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on to Northants versus Gloucestershire. Northants 469 in their first innings. Safe Zabe with 159. Gloucestershire 379 for 8 declared. Cameron Green with yet another century in county cricket. And then Northants 259 for 6 declared. James Sales with a 70. Gloucestershire have 350 runs to win. They finished 214 for 6. Miles Hammer top scoring with 80. Rain comes down. It was probably going to be a draw anyway. Might have been a result, but rain ruined it in the end. Save's interesting. I like it.
Safe Zone for me is one of the best all-rounders in the country in T20 cricket, I think. And I think that's really starting to translate over to red ball cricket as well. Now he's having a big role to play with the ball this season, just kind of bowling his left-arm spinners to break partnerships, be that attacking option for Luke Proctor and pick up wickets, and obviously scoring runs in the middle order as well. So Save's a really, really good player. I really enjoy watching him this season. Obviously, someone scored 100 at Old Trafford and thought he was played really, really well. Yeah, that was a really good game of cricket. Cameron Green, fantastic again. Obviously, his stint at Gloucestershire has ended. He's got himself back into form. He, I'm sure he seems to have absolutely loved his time there. And it's been really great to have a player of that calibre in county cricket. So I think it's worked out well for all parties. And yeah, got himself, as I say, back into form, back into fitness, and I assume back into the Australia side as well. I'd be very surprised if not. So yeah, I think it was a really good game. I do think there would have been a result. I actually think I could have seen Northants just nicking that on the last day. Actually, I could have seen them just nicking a result, nicking a win. But yeah, I think in the end, the draw is kind of a fair result in a way, given kind of the context of the game.
Yeah, another person that's really impressed me, Calvin Harrison. I think he's been really good. And I'm really excited to see him in the Blast as well. Is he at North Ends or is he at Notts?
I'm guessing he'll be back at Notts. I've not read anything or seen anything otherwise. So if he gets into the team is another question. He obviously was picked in the 100, I think, in the first edition as like a bit of an unknown quantity. He played for Manchester Originals, so obviously he's got like a lot of white ball pedigree in that sense. I hope he plays, and I think if not, I think Northants will be trying to snap him up a load again for the Blast and potentially longer term. Who knows? But I think he's a fantastic player.
Yeah, they've got him. The cricket draft, they've got him to be back at Notts. So I presume he'll be there. It'd be a little bit like, is it Ben Green that's going to play all of his county stuff for Leicestershire, and then all of his Red Bull stuff for Leicestershire, and then all of his white ball games for Somerset.
Yeah, and then Casey Aldridge has also gone on loans at Durham as well, so he's going to be playing Blast stuff for Durham, Red Bull stuff for Somerset. So Somerset like a loan, don't they? And obviously Notts have loaned Harrison out, so it'll be interesting to see how, if they kind of follow the same blueprint, I guess.
Somerset looked good for the Blast this year. I know, slightly off topic, but I watched Northants versus Somerset 2.
Yeah, I saw that you went to that. That was quite cool.
It's literally a 10-minute walk down the road from me.
Oh, really?
That they were playing it. So I wandered down and watched for a couple of hours. And yeah, they look decent this year. Finally, we will go to Derbyshire versus Kent. Derbyshire, probably the most unlikely promotion candidate that we could have had out of Division 2. I think we were both nailed on that they were going to finish last in Division 2. And they're second, and second by some distance. They scored 587 for 5 declared. Caleb Jewell 232. Wayne Madsen scores 100 as well. Kent of Life 326, 156 from Compton. Who continues his good form for this season. Kent asked to follow it on. Bowled out for 247, and Derbyshire win by an innings and 14 runs. Caleb Jewell's pretty special, isn't he?
Yeah, career best this week for Caleb Jewell, 232, a brilliant innings, and he's done what I'd hoped he would have at Derbyshire, and that's really come in and strengthen the spine of their side, take a lot of the pressure off Madsen, and I think that's also helped Lloyd, Kame, and Guest as well. They've been really, really kind of consistent. I think Harry Kame, I enjoyed watching him last week at Old Trafford. I'm glad to see him back in the runs again this week. I think he's a really good player. I also think it's benefited Martin Anderson, that move. I think he's been brilliant this season. 31 off 17 with 4 sixes this week in that Derbyshire innings. So yeah, that was a really good contribution, as it has been consistently throughout this season. Yeah, Derbyshire have been really good. Caleb Jewell's a fantastic player. I've been a fan of his again for a number of years now in the Shield and in the Big Bash, and it's great to see him, kind of in England. Had the opportunity to watch him in person as well the other week, and he's a very, very good player.
Yeah, I agree. In terms of the county championship table, Leicestershire top. They are 31 points clear of Derbyshire. They are up. Okay, it's guaranteed pretty much that they go up now, unless something horrifically goes wrong. They've won 5, drawn 2. They haven't lost any. Derbyshire are second on 108 points, 1-2, drawn 5. Glamorgan are third, Gloucestershire in fourth, Northants in fifth, and then everyone's 2 favourites to go up from Division 2 of Middlesex and Lancs are in 6 and 7, and Kent the other side in Division 1 that came down last year that you'd expect to do well. They are bottom of the table. I mean, I think the 3 favourites for the bookies to go up are the bottom 3, which is just bizarre at the start of the season. But that is going to be the county championship this week. It was actually a pretty good week. I mean, if it wasn't for the rain on day 4, I think we might have had 9 results.
Yes, yeah. It was a good week. It was a good week, obviously, some close games. And that's the beauty of Red Ball cricket. And I would just say as well, kind of a bit of a side note, but Surrey again, their Red Ball Festival, absolutely smashed it out of the park with that. They do that so well. I know London's a big catchment area and it's easy to advertise in London and all these different things, but you still got to do it, and Surrey do it so well. Almost 15,000 people at the Oval this week across the 4 days of the game, and yeah, it was a great game as well. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of point that out, that Surrey smash it with things like that, and I wish the Red Ball weekend over a bank holiday weekend will become a thing that the ECB do. It's a great initiative, and yeah, fantastic from Surrey.
But you do have County Cricket Day.
Yes,
coming up soon. I can't remember. I think it's middle of June, middle of July, something like that. So make sure you go down to a county cricket ground at that point. But I'm sure we will tell you when that is. Moving on to our Blast predictions. Joe, would you like to go first, or would you like to go second?
We're doing 4 for the North, 4 for the South, or just finals day?
4 for the North, 4 for the South.
Okay. I'll go first. I'll do the North first, and you can do the South first. Yes. So some very good teams in the North. I think it's very hard to pick. I don't think there's necessarily a wrong answer. I think every side has a good shot. I think the 4 that I've landed on are Durham, just about sneaking in there, Lancs, just about. But Lancs are, maybe that's kind of being biased, but Lancs are one of a few sides I was kind of debating. I do think the news today has kind of helped the fact that, there's a new outlook and stuff, and maybe some momentum can be gathered. So Lancs, and then I've also gone for Notts and Northants sneaking in there as well. So they're the 4 teams I'm going to go for. Hard to leave Warwickshire out. They always qualify, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just again, me picking Lancs is a bit biased. So
I have a completely different 4. I've gone Derbyshire to qualify. I like their team. I think they're good. They've got Gazanfar, who I've seen play cricket. He's very good, and hasn't quite been found out in cricket yet, like young spinners often do. I don't think they're going to find him out in the Blast. I think he's going to pick up a load of wickets. I've gone Leicestershire to carry on their Red Bull form. I think they're going to make the 4 as well. But I've gone Yorkshire to make it. I think they're going to have Bairstow back at some point. David Milan just loves the Blast. Like, he always scores runs in the Blast. Their bowling might worry me slightly, but they're okay there. And then I've gone Warwickshire because they're always there, and they always lose at home and never make it to their home finals day. I'll go with my South group. I've gone Surrey, Somerset, Hampshire. I presume we've got a very similar 3 there. And then I've got Kent to be my other team.
Interesting. I've actually gone slightly different. I've gone the 3 guarantees for me. Well, the 2 guarantees are Surrey and Somerset. And then I'm very confident for Sussex as well. And then I also think Gloucestershire will get through. I think they obviously defending champions, got a really good coach, a really good side, and that happens to be the same 4 that made it through last season. So perhaps that kind of reads into it a little bit as well. But I think I'm going to go for that 4. There's some really good players. Hampshire on one side, I think, are very good in their first 11, like first choice 11. But outside of that, I worry a little bit about the depth, and I think the batting's got to do a lot of heavy lifting. So I'm a little bit intrigued to see how that goes for Hampshire.
I got too excited by their South Africans.
I would about to say, I'm so excited to see Pretorius and Brevis. Like, I unfortunately probably won't be able to go and watch them in person unless they get a quarterfinal against Lancs, which would be very, very good, or somewhere near that I can get, or nearer that I can get.
What's the most north-south fixture there is? Is it Glamorgan?
Probably, yeah. I'm not gonna lie, geography's not my strong point. I just know who's in the north and who's in the south. When it comes to cricket, that is. But yeah, I don't know. Probably would be. It's maybe Gloucestershire. Is that too far south?
No, because it's Bristol, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
You've kind of got to go across the bridge. If it was kind of Gloucestershire going up, kind of up to Wales, then maybe. But yeah, I mean, or you just get the train to London and go and watch them at the Oval,
or is that as well? That's a very good shot. Yeah, I'm excited to watch Hampshire. Very excited to watch Hampshire, particularly Brevis and Pretorius, of course, and also Sonny Baker as well. I think he's going to have a good blast. I'm excited to see how he goes, but I do just worry a little bit about that kind of depth. That's why I didn't really go with Hampshire.
Yeah, I've gone Kent for simple vibes. I have no idea why I really picked them. I liked their batting. I think Miaia is going to have a decent year. Yeah. And it looks like they're not going to lose a load of England players. They don't really have any, with the exception of Crawley. So I thought they could be there or thereabouts. Yeah. I like Sussex. I could have picked them. Just their batting just didn't seem to have enough excitement in there for me.
Yeah,
I think their bowling attack. One player that was really good in the Blast last year was Ollie Robinson. I completely forgot about it.
Didn't he get a T10 gig, I think, as a result of that?
Oh, did he?
I'm pretty sure he played in the T10.
I think I've got a T10 gig at this point.
I like Ollie Robinson in the Blast. That's why I think Jimmy could work in the Blast. Just like the only difference is Ollie Robinson's a lot taller and will get a lot more bounce. But I do think Jimmy can work for a similar reason. If the swing bowler in the power play can be dangerous.
Yeah, if you bowl Jimmy for 3 overs at the start.
The white ball's going to hoop around corners, so yeah. I'm intrigued to see how that goes. But yeah, no, I think Sussex have got a good side. And I think Surrey are someone who are kind of inevitable, aren't they, to get through?
Yes.
Like Warwickshire, although I didn't obviously pick Warwickshire, they always seem to get through. So I think they're a very, very good side as well.
Who's going to win it?
So I'm going to say sorry. I'm going to say sorry. I think they're too good. I think they've got their overseas picks are exceptional. They obviously brought Mitchell Santner in. They've obviously got Jason Roy available for the whole tournament, as far as I know. Laurie Evans is a brilliant T20 player. They've got Sam Curran captain in Tom Curran. They've also got Dan Lawrence. They might have Jamie Overton at some point later in the competition. The likes of Jordan Clark. And someone I think is in a breakthrough is Ollie Sykes. I think he will get into the side at some point. He hits the ball a million miles, ridiculously hard. And I think he's going to have a breakout season this year for Surrey. So I'm going to say Surrey are going to win it.
Okay. I'm going to go with Somerset to win it.
Nice. Are you going for an all-stars finals day again? Because I think that's been the case the last 2 years, hasn't
it? Yes, I am going to go for an all-stars finals day.
Purely to bat the north, I'm going to say one southern side of that Surrey, because I said they're going to win it, and 3 northern sides.
I think it could. I think a push. I think it might be 1 north side and 3 south. Push. But that is going to be it for today's episode. Thank you very much for listening. I've just found out that Chelsea are 1-0 down. So I'm going to go and watch that and maybe cry in a corner for a little bit after I get this uploaded. Joe, thank you very much for joining me this week. If you do want to check out Joe, all of his socials will be down in the description, all the show notes. Remember to like, subscribe, follow, leave a review, leave a comment on Spotify. It will be massively appreciated. And we will be back tomorrow for the first ODI for England versus West Indies. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you very much.